Imagine yourself, cold, alone, defenseless, huddled in the corner of a sterile white room. It's ironic because as much as it looks like heaven, it's quite the opposite. Large beings surround you every day. They puncture your flesh with their devices. They feed you things that make your throat burn. They drop you in vats of liquid that scald your skin. And all that runs through your mind is the question, why? Of course we know why. In the name of science, they say. They're only animals, they say. And with that skewed morality, we allow them to carry on subjecting thousands of innocent creatures to tortures that we can only imagine. Homo sapiens. Order, primates. Class, Mammalia. Phylum, Chordata. Kingdom, Animalia. As it turns out, we're animals too. We share 99% of our working DNA with chimpanzees. We share 70% with rats. Somehow we constantly forget that we're far closer to nature than one would think. And instead of using this information as incentive to protect wildlife, we use it as an excuse to test on them in order to protect ourselves. UK law states that legislated experimentation is permitted as long as there are no alternative research techniques available, and that the benefits outweigh the risks. But it's easy to hypothesize about expected benefits when the reality may prove very different. Former Cancer Institute director Dr. Klausner stated that they've cured cancer in mice for decades, and it simply didn't work in humans. Unfortunately, consuming products and pharmaceuticals that have been tested on animals makes us complicit in their suffering. It's not a pleasant truth, but it is one. I know that it's easier to sit in blissful ignorance than to face the reality that your shampoo, your makeup, your lotion might be the product of mass torture. And I'm not letting you all off so easily, so here are some statistics that are hard to swallow. In Great Britain alone, 3.06 million scientific procedures were carried out just last year. 18,000 of those procedures were carried out on specially protected animals like cats, dogs, horses, and primates. 86,785 total procedures were assessed as causing the animal severe distress and suffering. In fact, in the US, even when facilities are fully compliant with the law, animals can be burned, shocked, poisoned, isolated, starved, forcibly restrained, addicted to drugs, and subjected to brain damage. As humans, we tend to use our own intelligence and sentience as a yardstick to measure other animals, and our intelligence and capacity for speech sets us apart, of course, but we must decide whether that gives us the right to abuse our privilege or the duty to protect our world. Despite access to alternatives like advanced computer modeling techniques or testing on artificial humans and cells, companies will still test on animals because it's cheap and because it's easy. The Bible calls us the stewards of the earth. In a hadith, the Prophet Muhammad says, "May the curse of Allah be on the one who treats any animal harshly." The Bhagavad Gita states that one is dearest to God who has no enemies among the living and who is non-violent to all creatures. For many, religion is a source of morality. And when our religions are so clear about the position we are to adopt in matters of animal rights, how are we in clear conscience to enable such cruelty? In a society where capitalism trumps morality, change appears hopeless. But there is a lot we can do to support the cause. Switch to products that don't test on animals. Just look at the ingredients for a certified cruelty-free logo like the PETAs or the Leaping Bunnies, or Google the company's cruelty-free policies. Tell your friends, your families, tell strangers on Twitter, on Instagram. If you're so inclined, make a donation to charity. Write a letter to the government. If this matters at all to you, use the resources at your disposal to make a real difference. Remember at the beginning when I asked you all to imagine yourself cold and alone and defenseless? If you felt bad, good. That's what I was going for. Another thing that sets us apart from animals is our ability to feel empathy, sharing and understanding in the emotions, the suffering of others. But empathy is not limited to human suffering. I'm sure you've all felt some degree of sadness when the dog dies in that movie, or you have to swerve to avoid a dead fox in the middle of the road. I'd like to invite everyone in the audience who has a pet at home to raise your hand, please. So, statistically, 59% of households in the UK have a pet. I'm also part of that statistic. I have 3 cats who I love with every single fiber of my being. And I know that, like many of you, I hate to see them hurt or unwell or unhappy. But the truth is, your pet is not worth more or deserving of more love than a lab rat, just because it has a name and a collar. All animals deserve to live lives free of human cruelty, not just the cute ones. Now, imagine yourself in a world where no living creature is harmed for no reason. Isn't that one you'd rather live in? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that powerful speech that you delivered. How did you become interested in this particular topic? Why is this particularly relevant for you?
I'm lucky that my parents, my family have always been sort of conscious about animal rights and choosing the right products that we use and stuff. My mum, she works for a company that specializes in using cruelty-free products, so that's always been very important to me and in what I use and what I believe in, and they just, I think it's important to spread that message.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.